Be Inspired TV. Everything in life can be taught, and it's possible that you can be at the level you aspire to be in life. Join your host, Pastors Lenmo and Nancy Tarengwa, as they take us through inspired life success tips.
Up close with Zimbabwe's finest young entrepreneurs on Be Inspired. In today's program, we're going to be talking about anything that an entrepreneur would need, because I'm together with the champions in Zimbabwe who are making it at a tender age. And today, in today's program, I'm with the CEO of Pro Air Zimbabwe, Mr. George Munengwa. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
And also, on my left, I have one of the youngest entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe, who is in marketing and branding, the CEO of Spidex Media. Welcome to the program, Mr. Eugene Peters.
Thank you very much.
Amen. And on my right side, I'm together with, again, another champion in Zimbabwe on the mobile communications in Zimbabwe. And it is my pleasure and my honor to introduce to you the CEO of Astro Mobile Zimbabwe. Welcome, Mr. Mnyaladzi Kwatizo.
Thank you very much.
On my far right, I've got a captain in the industry in Zimbabwe again, one of the youngest, one of the youngest blessed young entrepreneur in Zimbabwe, the CEO of Tech24 Group. This is Mr. Rhinos Mausa. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us.
Amen. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
We're good, thanks.
We're good.
We're good.
We are COVID great.
That brings me now to one of the questions that I have today. The whole world is faced with this pandemic, the COVID-19, and a lot of things troubling people. People, they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I've got you are in business, and I did not hear that you are closed. And what is the secret in this kind of thing, Mr. Mausa? What is the secret to be afloat in this pandemic where other people are crying, but you are still soldiering on and you are going on? What's your secret in this?
Well, I do believe that the greatest capital, road to wealth, is not only money, but it is our persistence, perseverance, and faith in the future and in God. So when you have that now at your disposal, you can soldier on against all odds to say, yes, we are faced with this challenge, and you have to look for other avenues. Say, how am I going to navigate into the future faced with this, the challenges that you have right now? So you can't just sit at home and cry, but you have to look for other options, because in every challenges that you encounter, there are also opportunities that will come with those challenges. So in this same season where everyone is crying to say the economy is so bad, there's COVID-19 and stuff, other people are making some millions. So I'm so grateful that we sit together as friends. We are very close friends, the four of us. We have a very small circle, and we usually sit together to say, how are we going to make it for your respective organization? How are you going to do it? So this is, in a nutshell, that's keeping us going. But I'll just leave for my colleagues to also weigh in.
Mr. Kwatizo.
I think it's basically an issue of seeing a problem as an opportunity. I think it's a matter of mindset. When many people are crying, wherever there's a challenge, there's an opportunity. I was talking with some gentlemen this afternoon, and we were saying that you've got a company like Zoom, which is now worth more than the market cap of all the airline industries combined. This is a testimony that whenever some are crying, some are actually doing very well. So whenever there's a challenge in this period, the issue is, how can I innovate? How can I adapt to the current challenges that are currently there? So the current scenario, it calls for thinking harder. Okay. So I think we have to think more than the way that we were thinking before this problem came, for us to be able to survive. But it's all about innovation. For us, basically, we actually launched a product during the COVID period when there was lockdown.
All right.
When each and every other person was saying it's a lockdown, everything is standing still. But for me, I saw it as an opportunity to actually utilize that time to come up with new products and to launch new products in that time. So it's just not allowing challenges to stop you. basically, yeah. For me, I think that is probably what is keeping me going. I'm not deterred by the current challenges. I'm always thinking, how can I take advantage of the opportunities that are coming out of these challenges instead of focusing on the actual challenges. Yeah.
Wow. Let me come to you, Mr. Peters. Looking at the industry that you're in, the marketing and branding, also relating to the COVID-19 issue, what are the opportunities, or what can you say in terms of your products in line with the COVID-19?
Okay, thank you. I think it goes down in line with what my other colleagues are saying in terms of, because any business like my business is affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. But one thing that we need to look at is how best we can adapt. I think it's one of the key ways that we are now using at our organization to adapt to the new trends. The traditional way of doing business is no longer the it's no longer the normal. We're now looking at the digital way of doing business. But obviously, as change comes into an organization, is one of the most difficult things that any company can face, change. So what we looked at is we've got we call it the superpower. What is the superpower that we need to possess in order for us to even survive in this environment? There are two things. The first thing is to unlearn. We need to be able to unlearn the things that we learned.
Wow.
And we need to also to make sure that we relearn the new things. The COVID-19 pandemic, I think Munya was reiterating, saying that right now the biggest company with the market cap is Zoom. But Zoom started, I think it's 10 years ago when Zoom started, but it didn't realize profit until now. Because right now people are now unlearning the old ways of going for meetings. They're now relearning the new ways of doing virtual meetings. So which brought it to a market cap in the world. So as an organization, we are looking at that scenario. And changing is not one of the most easiest things to do. We can look at individuals as ourselves. If you ask you to change some things, I know it won't just be an instant.
True.
So as an organization, we are trying to learn the process. We are trying to unlearn the other things that we've gone through. So that's how we are navigating the situation at the current moment.
Yeah. Wow. As you can hear, there is nothing that is impossible. And all the things that happens under the sun, God is the one who is in charge. And no situation can deter you from achieving whatever the Lord has ordained you to do. Because everything in life can be taught. You are watching, be inspired. And now I'm coming to you, Mr. Mnengo. I've been following you for the past 3 months and watching what you are doing in this COVID-19. Some other companies are closed, but I see you, with your team working hard and hard and hard. What is the secret in this COVID? Did it affect you in anyhow, or you had planned, or is something that is already, or you're adapting within the system in this situation?
I think one of the greatest things about entrepreneurs is that they are able to foresee what's going to happen in the future and actually see it before everybody else does. And I mean, if you look at the case of John D. Rockefeller, he did something and he saw something about, transporting oil way before everybody else saw it. And just like we're talking about Zoom now, as entrepreneurs, we need to be able to adapt. I like what my colleague says, adapt. If people fail to adapt in their businesses to go in line with what's happening now, their businesses are going to die. If people are going to rely on the traditional ways of doing business, they are going to die. And what we've done as Pro Air, we've made sure that for us, we were never closed. We were offering essential services there were a lot of hospitals being revamped, so our product was needed to be able to call certain facilities and etc. But for most companies out there, if they fail to adapt, I can guarantee you soon after COVID, a lot of them are not, because a lot of artificial intelligence and this COVID time has brought about so much change. And if companies fail to adapt, I can guarantee you most companies are going to close.
Yeah. You can hear that. And as we started, we are talking about what is happening now currently, like the issue of COVID-19 and how you can adapt. These are the people that are already doing something. Then I'm coming to you, Mr. Mauta. There's someone who has never started anything. And right now, with this pandemic, these people are actually way worse than they are. I mean, they are way worse than they were before the COVID-19 came. there's someone who wants to start something right now in this COVID-19, what encouragement or what information can you give to encourage someone if you say they should start something in this pandemic, what they're supposed to do? If you say don't, why shouldn't they start? Any encouragement that you can give to someone like that?
Okay. I think we can also draw inspiration. This is not just to inspire, but if you have to check on most of the successful people, they started from negative, especially in Africa. We don't start from 0 or 1. We usually were coming from a background where you don't have anything. If you are to, maybe my colleagues maybe can attest to that, where maybe when you are starting, maybe you don't even have offices for 4 months or maybe a year. And you are just soldiering on with no offices. And maybe without even registering the company, then you go and borrow $100 to register a company. Right now, there's online registration and you can register a company. So my advice is, if you want to start right now, this is the right time to start what you want to do. If you have an idea, because the greatest capital that we have is our brains that God gave us. It's not money. So if you can think, if you can see it, if you can see the future, nothing can stand in your way. So you can just go and register a company, because for you to get tenders or to get projects from different corporates, you have to regularize everything. And to register, you don't need a lot of money. Just maybe start small to raise the money to register. For example, you can use $30 is enough to register a company. After you register a company, you can go to get, maybe the Zimra registration is for free. You don't pay money for that. And you're already regularized and you can start operating without offices. So if you have the idea, just go for it. And also, you have a mentor. Just go to someone who is already in the same field to say, you know what, look, Eugene, I intend to be in the marketing and advertising field. How can I navigate and also make it just like you? I think we were also assisted by someone else. So if anyone is to come to me, surely I will freely assist that person. Not only assist, I can even recommend, say, go and see so and so, and maybe they will give you business. So I think that's how maybe you can grow through these challenges. But if you have the idea, you can go anywhere you want. And you can also go, even register a company. Do you know, if you want to register right now in Botswana, you can register whilst you are here right now. You don't need to to go there. You can open a bank account whilst you are here. Someone can assist you without parting off with a lot of money. And you can start operating and looking for other opportunities there. And these days, there's also other avenues to make money online. There are so many opportunities that we can pursue. Yeah.
As you can hear, and while we are on that note, Mr. Mauta, maybe this question I'm directing it to Mr. Gwatizo. Somebody is starting a business, or he aspires or she aspires to start a business, and she doesn't have a clue on what to do. What if he comes to you and say, I would want to start a business? What advice can you give such a person? Because I have people coming to me and say, man of God, I want to start a business, but he or she doesn't have anything to share with you. What information, what advice how do you help such a person who doesn't have a clue of what exactly, but inside him or her, he or she wants to do something?
I think it's a very interesting question. I think the challenge that I've seen is where everyone just wants to start a business. I think the first question is, why do you think you're supposed to start a business? Okay. To me, I think that is what is critical. And in other instances, you probably need to look for a job initially, so that you get to learn, in terms of how things are done. I always tell people the first thing that I did was to look for a job. The first 6 months. But when I was working, I learned a lot of things. I learned how companies run, how systems work, how things operate. The challenge is we've got a lot of entrepreneurs now, aspiring entrepreneurs, who just want to wake up and they think they can run a business. A business requires a lot of experience to be able to run it. Some of us have been in business for 15 years, but we're still learning each and every day. We are still facing challenges. We are still grumbling with a lot of things. And it's a continuous process of learning. So it's not just about starting a business, but it's about, getting something that helps you to generate revenue. Once you generate revenue, then you should be, called to do something. I think you are a pastor, and one thing that I believe in, and that I always tell people, I believe business is a calling. There are some people that are called to be entrepreneurs, and some are not called. So you need to be able to then understand that. So if you don't actually know what you want to do, it means probably it's not the right time to start a business, because there has to be a vision, of wanting to solve a specific problem, which is within your community or within your country or within your continent or globally, for you to then be able to say, I want to do this. So if you don't have a problem to solve, then there is no business. Because entrepreneurship is about identifying opportunities and solving problems that are currently within your space. So to me, that's basically what I can say. But to those that know what they want to do, what I can tell them now it's very key. You need to be able to look at areas where there is low hanging fruits in terms of doing business. So I would, be biased, towards about five key areas that I feel that there's likely going to be growth in those areas. I think obviously because of COVID, people are going to be very careful in terms of how they spend their money. But obviously one of the most important thing is food. Everyone wants to eat. So the food industry, I see it growing. So the opportunity there is, how can you disrupt? How can you deliver food much faster? How can you, take advantage of e-commerce to be able to deliver in that space? I think also the other area, it's the medical area, the medical side of things. We all get sick, and now people have become more health conscious. So what can you do to disrupt as well the medical industry? I see a lot of opportunity in terms of meditech, in terms of that space. And you also have got the financial services industry. I think I've started seeing a lot of fintech companies coming up, because the banking that we used to know is changing.
True.
The behaviors of people are changing. People want instant transactions, want convenient transactions. So I see also a lot of opportunities, in that in the fintech space. Then there's the digitalization generally, where I think like what you're saying, people are working from home. People are doing virtual meetings. Education is now being digitalized.
True.
Everything around us is now being digitalized. So for those aspiring entrepreneurs, it's spaces that we need to be able to look at, and e-commerce in general. E-commerce has opened up opportunities for everyone. Before, someone needed capital to build a store to sell groceries. Now they don't need the capital to do that. They only need to advertise their products on Facebook, and someone actually starts saying, can I have that millimil? A business has already started. So I believe we are in a period where business is easy to start than before, because you don't need so much capital, because it's a service-driven economy now. It's the ability to deliver service or products faster than anyone else.
True.
Yeah, and you don't even need to stock. You need to have an arrangement with the wholesaler. You find the customers, the customer pay, you go and pay the wholesaler, you deliver the product. Because you don't need to have a store where people can physically. So I believe that this is the best time to start a business, because the barriers to entry are very limited. It only takes passion, determination, and vision for one to be able to get into business. Yeah.
As you can hear, if you've got any question, any comment, you can just type in on the comment section below, so that we answer you or we help you or give you more insight. And Mr. Peters, you are into branding and marketing. In relation to what Mr. Kwadizo and Mr. Mahutse has been saying, what role does branding and marketing play now to somebody who is aspiring to start a business?
Okay, thank you. Before a company comes into formation, people usually buy a person. They buy your personality, they buy your character, they buy your confidence before they even look at what you do. Do you know that there are people? I think all of us we are testimony of that. Before we even had offices, before we even had anything to show the infrastructure of what we've got, the first thing that we did was to be able to look the part of what we are selling. You walk into an office of somebody, you need to be, exuding confidence. You need to be, the believability of yourself, with your brand. So personal branding is one of the first key points. It's not expensive. You don't need capital for that. You just need to understand how you convey to other people. Because in order, do you know that people, I remember when I first got my business, not many people came to my office because they didn't need to come to my office.
Okay.
Because one thing, I portrayed the image of what they believed as an organization. So that's the first thing. It doesn't need capital, it doesn't need anything. If you look at other research that has come through, if you look at graduate trainees or people who are looking for attachments in corporate worlds, 80% of the people don't get a job, not because they're not qualified, not because they didn't go to a better school or anything like that. They lose out because of self-confidence. If a graduate attachment student comes to my office, before I even look at the papers, before I even look at what they've brought in, I look at how they walk in, how they come and sit down, how they present, how they talk to me. That is the first selling point that I look at. The qualifications right now, I think, yes, we know qualifications are important, but self-confidence, and they're able to just say what you're selling. Because this is the person that's gonna go to my clients and represent my brand. So first of all, they have to pass me. So before you even move to even looking for clients, is your image sellable? Is your brand sellable? If you look at the different brands, the personal brands of Cristiano Ronaldo, all these other guys, they've got personal brands which build into their net worth or whatever that they've got, because it's something that is tangible in terms of value. So that's one of the things that any aspiring entrepreneur should have. And also coming to the terms of it's not all of us that should go into business.
Okay.
As Munya is saying, it's something that is called to do. Right now, I know the environment in Zimbabwe is forcing everybody to say, look, my salary is not enough. I need to go into business. But also, it doesn't mean that you're going to be successful in it.
Yes, true.
Because it's one thing to start a company and register a business and be able to manage and run it. Because there's a process that cannot be jumped in any way. And that process is very difficult, it's very painful. It's something that a lot of people don't go to the end of it. Because you face a lot of different battles that we've got personal battles that we have inside that even if you think about them, we will be like, Ish. But that's the honest truth. So it's one of the things that we need to look at for aspiring entrepreneurs in order to move into that. First, take care of how you look. First, take care how you talk. First, take care how you present yourself. Are you able, if you look in the mirror, are you able to sell to the people in your house? But the people inside your house are not believing you.
You know what you're selling, yeah.
Because you're not portraying that image. Confidence is something that can be learned, that's something that can be built. We didn't all come as confident. We used to be, even to just sit to show a camera, you'll be like, you can't say anything.
Yeah.
But it's practice. So let's practice to be able to sell. Let's practice to be able to portray the image that we want people to see. Because nobody knows you like you know yourself. Yeah.
As you can hear, this is important when you're starting a business. You are the best. You are the first brand. You are the face of your product. So you have to be presentable. And it's true. I remember this can come as a joke. I was selling at one time. I opened a perfume shop. Then I employed one of the young guys to come to work into my shop. So a customer came in and said, you know what? I want to buy the best roll-on from your shop, and which one is the best? So because he didn't know what he just did, he just turned around, just picked anything from the shelf, showed the client. So the client was like, I don't think I need this perfume. So I asked, why? Then he said, you know what? You personally, you are smelling sweat. Then you're saying this is perfume. The perfume. So you have to represent yourself in a way that when you're selling yourself, people will buy. So branding is very important. This is the branding experts who have been saying that. Now I'm going to Mr. Mnengo. You know, I remember the first interview that we did here on Be Inspired. You told me that you graduated at the University of Zimbabwe, and you know you've got a degree in hustling. And now I no longer see you there. Now you're one of the people that I see on top there, doing things professionally. What are the things that you can share to someone who is hustling now, because I see, especially in our country, Zimbabwe, I see a lot of illegitimate dealers in the streets and everywhere. And this is where you started, Mr. Mnem. What made you change from being a hustler into becoming a professional person? How important is it, to have that transition from being a hustler to become a professional businessman?
Wow, thank you very much. And I want to. All my colleagues have said very important points, which I'm going to use. Coming from Zemex Small, I was very well presented. I could sell. I was confident. I knew what I was doing. I was selling mobile devices, laptops, a whole lot of other things. And for me, I always had this hunger of wanting to be better. But the most important thing that made me be chosen above all my other colleagues was the way I dressed. And I also used to smell good. And how I would smell good, there was barbers across the road. You can use their perfumes as testers. So you'd go in there, pretend like you want to buy. You spray yourself before you go and see a client, and you represent well. And from there until the corporate world, I think one of the greatest things that Zimbabweans are currently facing, they don't have a basic thing that is called focus. And I abbreviate focus as follow one course until success. If you look at the gentlemen that are sitting here, if you say their names, automatically there's a specific brand or name that comes with them. If I was to ask the audience or the people watching, if I say Michael Jordan, you see something in relation to Michael Jordan. If I say Steve Jobs, if I say Munyaradzi Gwatidzo, if I say Rhinos Mautsa, if I say Oprah Winfrey, if I say Cristiano Ronaldo, you'll see that there's something about those people that made them who they are because of a thing called focus. They did something for a specific time until they achieved what they are now known for. And as our generation now, we want to do too many things and we're not focusing. This journey of entrepreneurship, if you look at all these guys or some of the most seasoned entrepreneurs, they've been in business 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Pursuing that one thing consistently, even when things went bad and they got bankrupt, they did not leave that thing. So it's important for people who are out there to understand that we've got this misconception that success comes quick. There's no elevator to success. Just because you have a mentor who is successful in business, it doesn't mean you're going to be successful. You have to go through the steps, one day at a time. Just because you spoke to somebody and they told you how they conquer doesn't mean you're going to conquer it. So people need to get over this microwave solution to success. Right. If you're going to be successful in any industry in your life, you have to focus. You have to, when people say your name, want to no in the pastor jedanu garage paridza. Kana ta uyu auyanuruka musoro because totomuziva kubva kudhara. Kana uyu ndowe magitare because day in day that's what he does. So success will always pay that person who is consistently in love with what they want to do. And I can guarantee you, to anybody out there, if you stay true to one thing, definitely you'll be successful.
This is insightful. This is powerful. Mr. Mautsa, in short, what's your day like as you wake up in the morning with your enterprise, with your companies, with your daily schedule? Can you just tell me in brief, what's your day like?
Okay, thank you so much, Pastor Lenny. I do believe business or life is spiritual. Everything in life is spiritual. And I'm so happy that the people around me, also all of them, we are believers. And so I start my day by praising the Lord and with a prayer. And my team, they know also, in as much as we start also all the meetings, with a prayer. And when I'm not at work, I'm at home or I'm with my friends. So that's my day. I'm at work, I'm at home, or I'm with my friends. And when I'm with, I've got and everyone knows what they're supposed to do. And I'm just playing a figurehead role and to also do certain things that they can do. So that's it. That's what I usually do when I'm navigating throughout the day.
Wow. Yeah. Mr. Gwatidzo, what's your day like? Is you wake up in the morning every day so that there's someone who always see you on TV, always hear about you. They want to know up close with you to understand how your day is like. Because sometimes you feel like, hey, how does these people live? How do they do their things? Is there anything special so that somebody's inspired?
I think Rhinos is pretty much kind of said what I'm going to say. I think obviously, like what you said, as believers, if there's one thing that you need in business is you need to reset each and every day. And prayer always is the reset mechanism. Whenever you pray, you worship in the morning, it kind of like resets your mind, you get re-energized, and you become a better person. And for me, one thing that helps me is to exercise. Each and every day, I run at least 5 kilometers, almost on a daily basis. It might not really show, but but I'm always exercising every day. It gives me the energy and it prepares me for the day. Then after that, it's work. I always have very long hours. I usually finish work around 9-10 p.m. every day. Drive back home. Try to catch up with the family. My kids are used to sleeping at 12 because they know for them to see me, they have to be awake at 11 p.m. because that's the time I'm going to be coming home. But now with working from home, I get to spend a little bit more time with the family because, I can do much more from home. Then, after that, I come back home. So it's a boring routine. If obviously you want to be an entrepreneur, you spend a lot of time, working and working and working and working and working, until you get there. So, that's it. For me, I want to retire early. I told myself at 45, I'm out. So, I told myself I have to work extremely hard these years so that, at least maybe I can also then get time to be spending with my kids and traveling and doing all sorts. But for now, it's prayer, it's work, it's networking, it's talking to my friends here and there, and that's it.
Mr. Peters, how is your day like?
Yeah, thank you.
As an entrepreneur.
I think what my colleagues are saying is just is similar. My day starts at 3 a.m. I don't know. I just can't find sleep from then on. Obviously, when I wake up, to me, I feel like when you are waking up at 3 a.m., it just means that sometimes you need to pray because that's when your day starts. Because I believe prayer is a connection to infinite intelligence that you need for the day. So at 3 a.m. I wake up, do 10 minutes prayer to just let the day be planned, not according to what I'm planning, but I've just put it into God's hand. But during that time, I always find difficulties in sleeping from 3 a.m. up to 6 o'clock. Then I wake up and prepare for the day. But during those moments, that's when I start to go on the internet. I think this day and age, there's no excuse for somebody not to know anything. The internet in the wee hours of the morning, you can just learn of different subjects, different words, just to be knowledgeable in things. And that's the only time also that I do what I call it scenario planning. Scenario planning is whereby I plan the day to say, if I go to see George today about this business proposal, or Munya about this business, or Rhinos about this business proposal, the scenario planning, is he going to say yes? If he says yes, this is how I'm going to proceed. If he says no, this is how I'm going to proceed. If he says maybe, this is how I'm going to proceed. So that I've got the 3 answers and the 3 reactions to those answers. Because one thing that I don't like to be caught by surprise. I know life brings surprises, but sometimes I just need to have a scenario of what's going to happen. Like before I came here, I had a scenario of saying there'll be plenty people, or maybe I'll not have the voice or something like that, so that you just have to, because life is about also rehearsing. Rehearsing for the stage. You never know when the lights, camera, action are on you. So to me, every day, that's what I do, to just make sure that everything that I'm doing is pre-planned. I know it won't go according to plan, but also I have my options of the reactions, because for every action, there's a reaction. So that's how I go, and I sleep early. I sleep at 7:30. If I don't go out with my friends or anybody at 7:30, I'll be sleeping. Yeah.
Remember, the program is Up Close with Zim's youngest entrepreneurs. And Mr. Munengo, how is your day like? As you wake up in the morning?
Wow. Okay. My day starts at 5 a.m. I usually wake up 5 a.m. I used to have an alarm many years back, so now it's in my system. With no alarm, I wake up 5 a.m. And from then I go and take a shower. And what I do when I wake up, I've got a Bluetooth speaker, and I connect to my YouTube. I type motivation. I see a topic, and as I am bathing, I'm always listening to motivation. And from that motivation, my kids will be up as well after I bath. The kids are also bathing, so they are all listening to this motivation. And after that, we have breakfast, and things being normal, usually that's when I take my kids to school. For me, I'm somebody who really loves to spend time with my kids. So, this COVID time has, hindered us from doing what we call the school run diaries, where from what we would have heard in the morning and what they have absorbed, we begin to share with people just before I drop them off. So my morning is basically motivation. I take the kids to school. After that, I go to a restaurant in town where I spend my first 2 hours by myself. So between 7:30 to about 9 o'clock, that's me time. I go by a restaurant, I sit, I think, I plan my day. I see what I want to do, my goals, objectives, what do I want to accomplish, how far am I. I do this religiously every single day. To those who know me, they know where to find me, specific points and times. From there, that's when I go to work. So with me, I work best mornings. So from 9 until lunch, that's my working time. After lunch, I do not focus. I'm a morning person. So after lunch, it's either, I'm either taking clients to lunch, or I'm going to just visit a couple of clients to see if they're happy with our services. And then usually my day end, if I'm not hanging with the boys, or, just, having, one thing about us, we try and spend at least 1 or 2 times a week. And you'll find with entrepreneurship, that's one thing that also keeps me going. Because as an entrepreneur, you don't have a lot of friends. The people who you grew up, if you want to share your real problems, they'll think we're over. But, but when you're with these guys, you'll find you learn a lot when you present your staff turnover issues. How are you handling salaries? There's some things you can't do alone. So, from my friends and other mentors that are around me, that's actually what helps me to become the person that I am. So basically, that's my day, and that's how I spend my time.
Remember, one of the greatest weaknesses that can cause a man to be poor is the spirit of laziness. And as you've been hearing all these young entrepreneurs, how they're spending their days, I did not hear them saying, I will just make a phone call and my colleagues will do things for me. They are hands-on. In as far as God has blessed them, and as far as their companies are successful, they are part of the process. So if you are there and you are starting a business and you are lazy, this is a lesson to you. You should be hands-on. I think because of our time, what are we going to do? I'm going to ask each and every person here to help with this question, because this has been coming to me and I thought of giving it to the world so that you can help. I've been in business, and when I started my business, me as a person, Pastor Tavengo, I had gone through partnerships with people, and I've noticed that most of the time I end up either messing the other partner or the other partner messing me up, and I ended up seeing a lot of weaknesses in there until I decided not to partner with someone. So I might be one of those people, or somebody might be listening. How do you handle partnership, and is it good to be in partnership? Is it bad? How do you handle partnerships in business? I'll start with Mr. Mounts.
Yeah. I think the first one, I think I can relate and attest to what you're saying. I think I have 2 ventures where I was also partnering, but we reached a point where we, for reasons, and I don't have hard feelings with my former partners. So since then I've learned that if you are still starting, partnership is good. It helps you to grow and accomplish certain things because you have different strength. But what I've realized, when you are still starting to have a partner, it's so easy for you to go your separate ways, because you are still at a formative stage where maybe you are not making a lot of money. By the time you start making money, then you start having conflicts. That's what I've realized. So if you are still starting, maybe I might be wrong, but this is according to me. If you are still starting, I think it's always good to start on your own. Then once you have set, the foundation, the processes, and put the systems and the some sort of structures, it's now easy now to say, I need to raise capital. I think Eugene has the capital that I want, and I want to give you, maybe to sell 30% to you. I want you to come on board as a partner. It's a better conversation. I like to start from ground zero, where you are partners and 50-50 because there's always, conflicts will always come. And there's this concept of unequally yoked. Sometimes you are praying hard, you are working so hard, then the other person, maybe they are not,
They don't believe in
what you are doing, and whatever the effort you are putting, they don't believe in that, or they believe in spending. Once you have a profit, they say, no, let's go for a vacation. But you are saying you are looking into the future. Let's invest back into the business. Then the conflicts will start as well. So for me, I do believe when you are starting, you don't need to partner unless maybe there's a strong reason and you have that conviction to say, if I do partner, this is going to succeed. Yeah.
Wow. Mr. Mnengo, let me jump to you now. I remember on our previous conversation, you were once broke. And was it because of partnership, or it was one of the things that you have made mistakes on the way? If it's relational to partnership, how did you handle it?
I'm one person who firmly does not believe in partnership. Especially, it's like I treat partnership like, if I start a business, it's my baby. So there's no way you can then have somebody else come and discipline your baby, and yet they don't know what it took for you to go through that process. So for me, like Rhinos is saying, a lot of people want to partner too quickly. And most of those companies, I tell most of my mentees that there's no company that starts off 50-50 and lasts more than 5 years. Because it's okay for the first couple of years, because it's $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. But when it gets to 10,000, 50,000, you're going to have issues and complications, because a client yangu ndindamonza this, then you start doing back-end deals and you're not submitting the thing to the company, and then ultimately you start fighting for the name, and then the company is dissolved. But for partnership, I think it's important, like he said rightfully, if somebody is coming to add value, not to give somebody 50% stake, because 50% stake means what's yours is mine. It's different. If somebody is coming for a percentage shareholding and they're adding value to your business, definitely I think that makes sense. But to start off, I believe it's good to, and you'll find most of us who are here, or most entrepreneurs, they ran the race of entrepreneurship by themselves, and they built their business to a certain level. The people who sell their business too quick, I can guarantee you, they're probably not in existence today, and they've learned that hard way.
Wow. Mr. Kwatitso, are you in partnership before I ask you the next question?
No, I'm not in partnership.
Have you ever been in partnership when you started business?
Yes, I've been in partnership.
Okay. Can you shed more light on why you moved away from the partnership in a way that somebody who might be in that same situation? I understand, when I shared with you sometime on this program, you highlighted to me that you started this project and you left it, you started that project. Now you've got a new project that you are pursuing, which is solely your project. And I understand that there might be something that is worthy listeners to understand why you came out of that, and if they want to get through that route, they be warned.
I think, me, I had a very nasty experience with partnerships. It was a very painful, state for me for some years. And, I thank God I managed to get over the bitterness of I went through. But like what George, has said, I think partnership is needed, at a certain time. I think, unfortunately, when you quickly bring a partner, they don't appreciate your value, especially if you're going to bring someone who's going to bring money into the business. You would have built the whole business, everything, sweated it out and everything, and someone just comes with money, and all of a sudden they think that they are more important than you, the vision bearer, because they've brought money. Then already from that time you are having problems. So for me, it was nasty. I built a business, It became very popular, not only in Zimbabwe, everywhere else. And because of greediness, because the business was making millions of dollars, I came through, people then, said, you are no longer a shareholder, and
In your business?
in my business.
Wow.
And the next thing is I'm out of of the business that I had created. So, if you are to get into a partnership, it has to be for the right reasons. I think it's always important to wait until you build value. Once you build value, then when someone is coming, you know what you're worth, and you know exactly what are they coming for. So partnership should not just be for the sake of having a partner, but they should come and fill a gap that you feel you can't fill yourself. So let's say your business has come to a point where you need a certain amount of money, and without that money, you can't move forward. Then in cases like that, you don't have a choice, but still get the right partner. You have to get someone that has got the belief system with you, someone that believes in your vision, respects you. Because if you have got a partner who doesn't respect you, it's a problem.
Yeah.
And make sure that everything is black and white. I know when you are young, you are desperate for money. Me, I was desperate because I had this huge vision. And, when someone said, I'm going to bring in so much amount of money, I was so excited. And I didn't think through that, this business is going to grow tomorrow. You see, they bring the money, but, I ended up not enjoying the business. The partner ended up enjoying the business and making the money, and I was out of the business. So, yeah, partnerships are really tricky. And if you are spiritual, it helps to also, pray about it, and hear what God will be saying, because it's a very sensitive area. It can be, your way to success, or it can be it can be your downfall. It's either the two. So you have to be really careful.
Wow. So, basing from what you are saying, I've learned one thing, that when you're negotiating in a partnership, don't negotiate from the weak side. Negotiate from you being the bigger side, so that you don't look down upon yourself. Most of the people are taken advantage of because they negotiate from the weaker side, like on the begging mode. So you've heard it for yourself. I'm going to ask my last question to Mr. Peters. It's not relational to what the other gentlemen have been saying. You are in business, and I understand you've got relatives, you've got family, you've got people that are close to you. How do you protect yourself? Because it's it's one of the things that also made me or frustrated me in the past, where your relatives comes to you or your friends, they take things in the preset that they are going to pay. Then later on, they discover that you discover that they don't even want to pay. And how do you handle such issues as an entrepreneur? You've got a business to run, and it's run professionally, but you've got people that want to take advantage of your relationship, and at the end of the day, they don't want to pay back. How do you deal with such kind of situations as an entrepreneur?
Thank you. I think for all entrepreneurs, I think when you're starting a business, you always have those scenarios coming into play. Yeah. They always come into play, and we cannot say that there's a foolproof that at first hand when they come into play that you just be upright and say no. So we all fell victim to that scenario. I'll go maybe to Munya. He does mobile devices. So if I come and I'm his Bankuro, his Tano, and I say, look at my phone, can I just have a phone from there? I'm gonna pay you in my salary in 2 months or 3 months or so, like that. In him already is an entrepreneur, but the ability to say there comes in the relationship part of things, where he's now weighing between not giving the Bankuru the phone, or to say, look, we sell these phones, because he knows this Bankuru, if I refuse to give him the phone, someone later is going to go through the family, is going to cause more stress to say, look, that's not phone, and phone. It's a first test that comes to entrepreneurs, or people who want to come for products, for services for free. My industry is a service-driven industry. We work in terms of designing things, so to people, when they look at us, they don't see the tangibility or the effort of what you're putting through. Somebody calls you, can you just do me a logo? Kadiki chungoita kalogo kadiki kadaro, you know. If I say no, we charge this much. They say, no, you can't be charging me. I can be able to do it. Rindega, something like that. I used to work for free for years when I was starting my business, just to say, look, I've just pleased somebody. But when I came to a point where that question came, I asked somebody who was in business to say, look, sometimes people, you need to give them the raw facts.
Okay.
To say this is for the money. If you do something for, there's a question where in our industry where it says to maybe to do something like this, and I charge it $100. Then I do it in 10 minutes. Then I say I've done it, but you say you just done it in 10 minutes. Why are you charging me $100? The answer is to say I went to school for 5 years so that I'm able to do it in 10 minutes.
Okay.
So the educational value of whatever that I've put in amounts to the value or the charge that I'm giving to you. So already relatives, friends, and all that stuff, you need to put a system whereby they come in, when they come into your workplace or wherever that you operate from, they can see there's a proper system of governance. From the reception, when they come and sit down at the reception, and you have the aircon from Pro Air, just, gives them cool breeze and all that stuff. They go there, get served coffee, then they come to you and you give them a service. Surely they have to pay. Because from where they were coming from to where they are to you now, they've seen that there's a process of costs that are coming into play. Sometimes it's very good to be. They say business people sometimes are shrewd or brute or arrogant or something. It comes from these series of things. Because sometimes you have to just say what it is. If you don't like me, you don't like me. So difficulty in selling to family, to friends is always there. But among us, we've got this notion of saying, I think we've got a small group that we've got. I think it's got 7 people, some young business people. There's a question that comes to say, have you supported rhinos? Have you supported Munya? Have you supported Eugene? Have you supported George? When you see Pasnamuna, I'm just gonna call George, look, can you just come and put an aircon in my place? Can I use an Astro phone? We can't even put our phones out in front of him, because that is betrayal among us. Because before somebody supports him from outside, we have to support him.
Teamwork, yeah. Teamwork.
But in Zimbabwe, I think we've got a culture of saying, look, yes, I the same to the next person, because he might know him. Before I give him the money, he might go ahead of me. The spirit of jealous of saying we can't see us going forward. But it always starts with us supporting each other, because this network of influence, the circle of influence, can have enough impact to somebody's business.
Wow.
So it's the mindset that we need to also change and be able to adapt to the new normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
As you can hear, business is business. Remember, the program is Up Close with Zimbabwe's young entrepreneurs. And in this program today, we were discussing a lot of things, and I pray and I believe that you have mastered and you have learned 1 or 2 things. Remember to send your comments. Remember to ask your questions on the comment section below. And I believe this program has been a blessing to you. Maybe the passing remarks, 1 minute each, gentlemen. 1 minute, okay? I will start with Mr. Mnengo. Being a young entrepreneur it's something that is very, very, very I'm talking of men because we are men, but most of the time we have got a problem with women. Most young people, they struggle with this area. How do you handle women in your business? How do you handle women coming to you if they are coming? How do you handle that?
Okay. I think one of the most important things, especially as entrepreneurs, some of these issues come, and I think the greatest strength of us is that we come together. And about entrepreneurship comes, I can guarantee you're going to have a lot more time and you can do whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. So one thing that makes us strong is we try as much to spend a lot of time together. We share some of these issues, and I think the most important thing, we spend a lot of time together talking. Once you become successful, you have a lot of money, a lot of disposable income. If you don't have people to spend time with, I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs lose it. And this is why they become polygamists. They do all these other things. So for me, I think my association has kept me sane, to have fellow brothers in the Lord where you can share. You know, we have a lot of brides as families. We do a lot of things together. Our families know each other. So that has helped us to keep sane, because we've seen, I mean, we talk about it all the time. We know business people who've gone past before us. And that's one thing that led to their downfalls. So we talk about this, we see where they went wrong, and we keep each other sane. It's good to just have people around you. I mean, it definitely happens. If we say we are going to avoid that topic, we'll be losing plot, and we can't act holier than thou to everybody else. We need to address these very important questions, and how to get over them is to associate yourself. That's why the Bible says, you know, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Hang around with those people. You know, if you hang around good people, you too become good. But if you hang around people who will say, no, go this direction, I can guarantee you, you will be led astray, and definitely you'll fall in the pit, and that will be the end of your entrepreneurship journey.
Mr. Mouse, how do you handle this?
I know.
You're a young looking entrepreneur, and I know these things comes to you. How do you handle women?
That's quite a question. I think Mr. Munengwa just answered rightfully, but if you had to check also, like what I said earlier on, our background, we started from the negative, and the women that we have in our lives, all the four of us, we have been through quite a lot together.
Okay.
So, and also we are believers. Every Sunday we'll be going to church. If you have to check our phones, we have a lot of pastors that we'll be talking to every day. So we are humans. I mean, you can't say you
They
won't,
don't come. Yeah.
the temptations will come. But because you have your circles, every day you'll be interacting with people who'll be saying, guys, you know, those who have been there before us, they went through this and they fell into the trip, and look where they are right now. That alone will discourage you if you are thinking about it. And also, if you have to think also of the person, the woman in your life, who happens to be my wife, where you have come from together, to say it's at a certain point you didn't have anything, and we worked through, and the Lord have seen us to where we are today. That alone is also enough motivation for you to remain on course. But of course, temptations will come, but it's how you handle those temptations.
As you can hear, Mr. Gwatiz, how do you handle this area? You've been faithful. I know, I understand your background with your woman and how the Lord has taken you through from the negative, as Mr. Mao highlighted, and now you're still together. What's the secret? How are you keeping yourself away from temptations of women?
I think it's an issue of shared values and shared visions. I think as a family that keeps you going. I think and also constantly being candid and honest, you know, with your wife in terms of discussing some of the challenges that could happen. Like what Rhino says, yes, definitely, pressures and temptations, they can try to come here and there. But I think if you're focused in terms of what you want to do, it always helps you to continue moving in the right direction. And excess time, it's always sometimes what creates a lot of bad behaviors, like what George said. So I think for me, it's always occupying myself as much as I can, keeping my calendars and my schedule occupied, so that I don't have an empty mind. Once you've got an empty mind, they always say it's the battlefield of the devil.
The devil is true.
So it's constantly trying to make sure that you are occupied, and also as a Christian, you are driven with values that always help you and to remain on course. Whenever you've got this thought, you always have got that small little voice that always keeps on correcting you and bringing you back in terms of the right way. And even as friends, I think having the right friends that for the same beliefs, with these gentlemen, we always have these tough discussions, and we always talk to each other that this is too much, this is not too much, this is that, and this is that. There's always someone who's there to say, this speed is too much, or this is too much, or this is good, keep it up. And so you always have got an accountable brother, someone who is looking at you and monitoring you, that you're accountable to, so, and who you are free to. So it kind of really helps, because if you fell or you feel weak, you've got 6, 7 other guys that are stronger who will say, you know what, let's go. So it really helps. So in this journey you can walk alone. If you walk alone, I think you definitely fail at some point. You can't walk alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Peters, as young as you are, with all you have, I know these temptations come. How have you managed to, to handle yourself in a way that God pleases, especially in the area of women?
I think I cannot say that, as you are saying, it doesn't come. It comes every single time, every single day and moment in any man's life. But to me, sometimes when I see them coming, it's always about, there's something about you which can also turn into a monetary factor to say, look, if I'm going to present, if I'm presentable to them, maybe I'm presentable to an opportunity for business from other people, It comes as a self-branding awareness. But one thing that is very, that comes back, that pulls us back into sanity is the issue of that you cannot never buy loyalty. The day one of somebody who saw you with nothing, then you build together to have something, that alone knocks sense into you to say, look, because now I'm now looking this way, I'm now this type of a man, I'm now attracting all these bees to me. But why don't I just keep to the bee that made me build the kingdom that I have? So those temptation comes. But also talking about other issues, it's an issue of self-governance. I know self-governance is one of the most difficult things that people have to go through each and every day of their lives. There's a story of somebody who told me to say, look, do you want to know how self-governance is judged at a personal level as yourself? If you are coming from Bon Marché or Pick and Pay or whatever the thing is, when you're getting your groceries, you take a trolley from the trolley rack. You go inside the shop and you do everything that you're doing, your groceries, and you push the trolley to your car. Then you offload your groceries into your car. Self-governance plays at that moment. What are you going to do when you are done with the trolley? I would bet 80% of us or 90% of us here, that trolley will just push it and leave it there.
True.
You're not obliged to go and put it back there, but because of your own self-governance or lack of it, you just leave it there. But no one is policing you to say, look, go and put it back.
Yeah.
So that's the scenario also, to say sometimes it's a personal self, nobody's policing you. You do what you're doing in the privacy of your own environment. But that deep down conscience of saying, look, what is the benefit of this, of what I'm doing and all that stuff, is one thing that makes you become sane. And also in the Bible, I think it's in Kings, when it was advised to the son, it says, my son, it's Proverbs, right? My son, be aware of women. They are known to bring down kings. So if you feel that you're a king, there are some certain areas to say for the greater value of what I want to become. Let me self-govern.
Well, time is always jealousy. And remember, this is being inspired. Everything in life can be taught. And today, we want to thank God for what He has done for us by bringing the generals in the kingdom, the generals in the business area, the young entrepreneurs of Zimbabwe, to come and just share everything that you might need. And I believe in every area we try to touch today, you are being blessed. And if you have got any questions to anyone, the names are there. You can just direct on the comment section, ask your question, and definitely we are going to give you the answers from them. And that will lead us to the end of the program. Be inspired, up close with Zimbabwe young entrepreneurs. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank Thank you all for listening to this episode of Be Inspired. I hope you have been inspired by today's program, and I also hope you will put to act and practice everything that we have discussed today. Let's meet again next time as Pastor Lenny gives us more success tips.